Hey, I hope you guys have had a great week so far. I've had a very busy but a very exciting week. There's a lot of awesome things that are about to unfold in my life, and they are all just piling themselves on me right now. It's a lot of stress, but it's good stress, and I'm excited for it. Anyway, I've had a great time preparing for this message today. This has been something really that is applicable to my week, and I didn't even know that it was going to be applicable to my week when I started making it. So I'm glad that I learned and I invested in this teaching. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. I know I really enjoy preparing it, and I think that I have a great word to share with you guys today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you all next week. Bye. Okay, so I'm going back to sports. I love sports. I think that a lot of the time sports make some of the best sermon illustrations and message illustrations because it's active. I can use some abstract concepts and I can use some abstract examples, but I think sports a lot of times is very applicable because it's active, it's motion in our life, and so I'm going back to basketball today. I'm gonna let's pick up this speaker right here. I'm gonna pretend this is a basketball. So boom, boom. Oh, just got the pass, and I'm down in position. This position is called a triple threat position. This is because I can boom, take it and dribble around the enemy, cross them up. Ooh, oh. Or I could shoot, or I could pass the ball. Unless if you're Kobe Bryant, in which you do not pass the ball. You would be in a two-threat position right here. But for most people, besides Kobe Bryant, this is a three-threat, triple threat position. You got to be in position. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting when I played basketball is that the position that you're in doesn't change on offense and defense. Now, the only thing that changes is whether or not you have the ball. So when you have the ball, you're like this. When you don't have the ball, you're like this. Nothing else changes. The only thing that changes is the position of your arms. And now, so when you're in defense, if you're down and you're ready for the defense, and you're ready to play defense, you're ready for what's coming at you, then you won't get blown by. Hopefully you will not get dunked on. Because if you're just standing there and moseying around and not really caring, yeah, I see him. I see that he's dribbling up the court. I'll get ready when he gets close enough. I think that's how a lot of us treat life. We see that the things in our life are coming our way a lot of the times. We see that the struggle is coming. We see that the test is tomorrow, but we still put it off until the next morning. We see that the project is due in a couple days, but we still wait until the night before to get it all done. We know that the paper's due at midnight, but we still wait until 10 o'clock to start it. We see that the thing is coming, but we wait until we feel like they're close enough in order for us to get ready. And that's not the most effective way to go through life. And in fact, I want to read for you guys a little story today out of 1 Kings chapter 20. And now, just to give you guys a little bit of context, we're going to be reading verses 6 through 12. This story is where Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, sends a message down to the king of Israel, whose name is Ahab, and says, I'm going to take all of your silver, gold, wives, and children. And Ahab responds back and goes, okay, I don't really know how I could fight you, or I don't really know if we could win, so okay, take what you want. So then Ben-Hadad, as we're about to see, gets a little bit greedy when he sends his response back the second time. So verse 6 says, Nevertheless, I will send my servants to you tomorrow about this time, and they shall search your house and the houses of your servants, and lay hands on whatever pleases you, and take it away. The enemy does. I don't think it's interesting that in verse 6 it says whatever pleases you, because the enemy doesn't take necessarily what pleases him. When the devil comes into our life, when the enemy comes into our life, he doesn't take what pleases him. He takes what pleases you. He takes what you need, not what you don't need. The devil is not going to take out the trash for you. The devil is going to take your treasure. So he takes what you need. He takes it away. That's my first point. Takes it away. Verse 7, then the king of Israel called all the elders and said, or of the land, and said, mark now and see how this man is seeking trouble, for he sent to me for my wives and children and for my silver and my gold, and I did not refuse him. And when I read this, those words, I did not refuse him, really stuck out to me. Because I think a lot of the times when we face the enemy in our life, we do the same thing. We did not refuse watching porn, so now we're having to deal with the loneliness that comes after the 5-minute high of watching porn. And I think that's just one example. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Verse 8, and all the elders and all the people said to him, do not listen or consent. Obviously. Why would you consent? Why would you listen to the enemy when they are going to take everything that is treasured by you? And I'm going to steal this from one of my favorite pastors. His name is Pastor Stephen Furtick. He was explaining that it's not how close you are to something that gives you clarity. It's the context of something that gives you clarity. It's not... I'm going to make it original. It's not the proximity that gives you clarity. It's the perspective that gets you clarity. Because if Ahab would have known the outcome, then he wouldn't have allowed the enemy to take anything in the first place. And at the end of this story that we're about to read, I'll eventually tell you that Ahab destroys Ben-Hadad not once in battle, but twice as well. And if he would have seen the outcome when the obstacle was in his face, then he would have treated the opportunity as something different. And that's something that we can all learn from. So, obvious, it's not the proximity, it's the perspective. So he said to the messengers of Ben-Hadad, because the enemy never talks to us face to face, the enemy never walks down himself, because if the devil came to our face directly, then we would never do what he asks. We would not turn to the enemy, because we know that God would be so much better than choosing the devil. But the devil sends down pride. The devil sends down lust. The devil sends down bad habits. The devil sends down bad finances, or maybe really good finances, because bad finances can lead us to believe that God doesn't protect us, but then too many financial successes might lead us to believe that we don't need God in order to be successful, and that there are other ways to prosper in this life without God, and so then that makes us turn away from him. So maybe it's either. Maybe he just sends finances our way. So indirect. So he said to the messengers, indirect, of Ben-Hadad, tell my lord the king, and all that you first demanded of your servant I will do, but this thing I cannot do. And now I think this is funny, because the enemy always takes more than what he's going to. In Romans 8 verse 12, Paul talks about how when we sin in the flesh, we are debtors to the flesh. And with debt, we always end up paying back more than it's worth. Our debt gains interest. So we are having to face the fact of, so when I watch porn, it's not just affecting me in that moment. It's affecting the way that I will one day treat my wife. It's not worth it. The debt that we're giving into right now is never worth what you have to take to pay back. It's never worth it. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. Ben-Hadad sent to him and said, the gods do so to me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls for all the people who follow me. And the king of Israel answered. Now, what I'm about to tell you guys is a saying. Once again, Pastor Stephen Furtick, he was preaching that there was a saying that you have heard, or you have a saying. This is another saying. This is not something that we normally say. Tell him, let not him who straps on his armor boast as him who takes it off. What does this mean? Do not let the person who goes into battle, who puts on the armor, boast as him who takes it off, because these people fight to the death. So if you have the capability to take off the armor, you are the winner. Don't let the person who enters the battle be the one who takes it off. When Ben-Hadad heard this message, he was drinking with the kings in the booths, and he said to his men, "Take your positions." And they took their positions against the city. So we can't get overconfident. We can't boast as if we're taking off the armor before the battle gets through. We can't boast as if, look at all that I have done. Look at all that I am able to get myself through. So because of that, I will be able to be victorious. But then it also works for underconfidence as well. And God told me to tell somebody today, don't stop. You're looking at the things in your life like Ahab did the first time, seeing that they're way too big, they're way too more powerful than who you think that you are. So you're giving up on the battle before it's done. Don't take off your armor before the battle is done. God told me to tell you that to somebody. But then also it says that Ben-Hadad took his position with his army against the city. The enemy is in position. Are you? The enemy is in position. The enemy is ready to come down against you. The enemy is ready to come and attack you. Are you ready for the enemy's attack? Are you ready for the enemy to come down? You have to take position so that he doesn't dunk on you, to bring it back to the original example. Be in position, because the position that we're in determines a lot of the times the prosper of the battle. The position that we're in, because once the battle starts, it's a lot harder to get back into position. I know I've gone a little bit over, but I just want to share this real quick. It's so much harder to get into position once the battle has begun. If you prepare for the position before the battle starts, then you will be in a better place than if you hadn't. So I hope you guys have all had a great week, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye.